everyone. Good evening. We are here for another exciting episode of Dear Battered World. Today, I have a very special guest. She is a friend of mine. Her name is Ariana Miramontes.
Hi,
Thank you for coming.
thank you.
So, the reason why I invited her on this show, not only is she a good friend of mine, but today and tonight's topic is going to be on immigration and the effect it has on families, people who love each other, who have friendships and manage to have friendships, knowing if our vote was different. We have difference in opinions, and we're mature enough not to overstep boundaries, but to still love each other unconditionally. So I wanted to talk to you guys tonight, to the viewers, and encourage you guys not to spread hate, to love one another. When you have a friendship or a family member or something like that, you do not want to end those relationships over indifferences. The thing that happened to Charlie Kirk, how he was murdered over his opinions, we don't want that to happen. We don't want people having conflict. Conflict is meant to cause division. And I know a lot of us have different opinions. Before I get started talking to Ariana and asking her different questions, I wanted to go over two Bible verses with you guys. Okay. The first one is in Leviticus 19, 33, verse 34 through 34, sorry, which says, when a foreigner resides among you, do not mistreat them. Treat the foreigner residing among you as your native born. Love them as yourself, for you were foreigners in Egypt. And then the other one is Exodus 34 through 24. For I will cast out nations before thee, and enlarge thy borders. Neither shall any man covet thy land, when thou goest up to appear before the Lord thy God 3 times in the year. I will cast out nations. So, guys, in Leviticus and Exodus, we see two different opinions. Okay. So, a lot of people are arguing out there about, oh, well, in the Bible it says, we should be good to foreigners. We should not mistreat them. We should allow them in our land. And then on another flip side, God's saying that we do need protection. We do need those border walls. So, with that being said, I think there is right and wrong, and I think there's always a balance. There's good and evil. But what I'm trying to reflect here with you guys is the importance of there's different things to be interpreted, and we have to be careful how we interpret these things, but understand that there's a balance to our opinions, okay? So I believe that God feels that we should treat each other with love, people who come into our country and our nation with love and acceptance, because let's face it, my grandparents on both sides, I am half white and half Hispanic. I have family from different countries, and then our family members either and as a joke, they either swam across or they came on the boat, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So with that being said, I have a little bit of a difference in opinion about that. I feel we should love each other and welcome people in, but I also believe that there needs to be a balance, order, and structure. There needs to be rules. So a house divided can't stand. So America divided can't stand. I believe though a house that doesn't have discipline, children and people who don't have discipline, or if there's not order and structure in any way, whether it be the home or workplace or our country, then things fall apart. You all understand where I'm trying to go with this? I hope so. So with that being said, I'm going to interview Ariana. Ariana, so most important thing, were you born in America?
I was.
You were
Yes.
born in America.
Yes, I was.
Okay. Were your parents born here in America?
No, they weren't.
They were not.
No.
Where's your mother and father from?
So my dad is so both my parents are from Chihuahua, Mexico,
Okay.
a little town. It's Cocomorashi, Chihuahua. That's where my dad's from. And my mom's from Temosachi, but they grew up in Matachic, Chihuahua. So they've been there, obviously their whole lives. And my dad, you know, he decided he wanted to better his life. He came over here to the United States at a very young age. This is
Mm-hmm.
what he told us.
Mm-hmm.
Once he married my mom, well, my dad was already here actually whenever he met my mom, but
Mm-hmm.
he would go back and forth to visit family. So, obviously when they got married, he brought her over here. And that's where they began their life in Colorado. Because I'm in Loveland, Colorado.
So they came from Mexico and moved to Colorado, correct?
Yes, I know there was other places they resided before Colorado,
Colorado
but
is where you were born.
that's where it was.
Okay.
It was in Colorado.
So what year were your parents in Colorado and what year were you born?
I want to say it was in like the 80s because my brother, obviously, he was born in Wyoming.
Okay.
So it's just due to my dad's job. I was born in 92. So I was born in Loveland, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I remember living in Loveland. Obviously, I was a baby. And then from there in Greeley. And then whenever my dad, with his job, we moved over here to New Mexico, to Roswell at
Okay.
the age of 6.
So you were 6 years old when you guys moved to Roswell, New Mexico,
Yes.
where we're from.
Yeah.
We met. Where we met. Okay. So you guys came to Roswell, New Mexico when you were 6 years old. So at that time, how long have your parents been in the US, both of them?
I mean, obviously, it's my brother, obviously. So we're all 4 years apart. I have a half brother, and then I have an older brother, and then it's me and then my little brother.
Mm-hmm.
We're all 4 years apart. So I want to say at that time, it had already been over 10 years for my parents, I believe,
Years.
10, 15 years around there.
Okay.
Yes.
So what did your dad do for a living?
So he worked for the Union Pacific Railroad.
Union Pacific Railroad.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, it's with the train tracks. So, he
Okay.
specialized on the trains, putting the tracks together.
Oh, okay.
And so my mom, she was, a stay-at-home.
Stay at home.
Yeah, she stayed home while my dad worked.
Okay, so she took care of you guys. Well, they
Yes.
call them domestic engineers. I didn't know if you knew that. So what a woman does at home is very important as well. Okay, so that happened. So now I'm going to take you to, let's go back. Let's fast forward a little bit.
Okay.
So your mother ended up being deported. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, she was deported when I was the age of 13. So we moved to Roswell when I was 6 years old. I went to elementary, middle school. Once I was about to hit high school and I was to be a freshman, that's when everything just changed
Okay, so
drastically.
then I mean rewind.
Yeah.
Rewind. Okay, so rewind to now you're 13 years of age.
Yes.
You're about to start high school. This is a very hard time for a young woman.
Very.
This is when a woman needs their mother, correct?
Yes, I was actually 12, but ended up going with my mom at the age of 13. So she had got deported, and honestly, I can't remember in the back of my mind, like,
Were you at
right,
school
yeah,
when this happened?
yes, it was just like a normal
So
day.
take me to
So,
the day. Tell me how the day unfolded.
so this is, when you're young, you don't really, you hear conversations, parents talking, you don't really pay attention to all the adult conversation because you just have so much going on. So to you, that's not important. So I just remember my parents talking about having to go meet a lawyer with all this, with her getting her papers. So I kind of didn't fully understand at that time yet what exactly all that meant. Like I knew, okay, she's gonna get her papers. I thought it was just, oh, she's gonna go get them and that's it. I didn't never thought of it like this whole thing that it was such a big thing. I just remember my dad telling me, hey, we're gonna be leaving to El Paso. We have to meet with the lawyers. And it was just like a normal day, going to school. I remember getting off of school. At that time, I already had a phone. My dad had got me a little flip phone just to communicate with us. And I remember my dad calling and telling me, and I'll never forget this. Remember like yesterday. He told me, hey, he told me in Spanish, but he's like, hey, he's like, I just want to let you know that your mom, something happened. But your mom's in Mexico and we don't know when she's gonna be able to come back. And when I heard those words, I was just like, oh my gosh, like I just remember crying drastically, like crying, and my dad was trying to calm me down. I couldn't fully understand like what was going on. I was in the 8th grade, but still I was kind of like, what's going on? Why? And my dad just says some stuff happened, but no worries. He's like, and my dad's like very, old school, so he kind of just laid it all out on the table. Like he told me, they took her, I had to follow her so she can cross Mexico. But I'm gonna go home. He's like, I'm gonna just pack all her stuff, like clothes, everything. And no worries, we're gonna have to go. You're gonna get to see her. We just don't know when. So in my mind, I'm like, what am I gonna do without my mom? At that time, I depended on her. I depended on her. And I just always remember kind of giving my mom a hard time, like when she was there, like, oh, she would want me to help her with things, but because I was like, "Oh, I have my mom to do it for me, whatever." And I just remember that. I remember thinking, "Wow, like,
So this humbled you.
yes, very," because I'm like, "I'm gonna have to do everything for myself now. I'm gonna have to, who's gonna stay here? Who's gonna take me to school?" I was just thinking my dad's works, he would work 2 weeks on and then a week off. So I just like I was so confused. Like I just remember feeling the fear, confusion, and just knowing that someone was ripped away from me, someone I loved dearly. And I couldn't fully understand. I just remember that whole night I cried. I called my mom. Well, actually, my dad gave me the number to call my mom. And I just remember crying and crying. And, with the Hispanics, we're very just, I would say, very like dry with each other. So I never really told my mom I love you. So I just remember I told my mom that night, I love you. And she told me I love you too. And I just remember that. I'll never forget that because I'm like, wow, she told me she loved me. I know she loved me. Obviously, she's my mom, but we just never like
Out of
affection, yeah, And so I was just like, I remember crying that whole night. The next day, my dad took me to school to get homework. My eyes were puffy, like puffy. There was one teacher that she knew something was wrong, and I'll never forget her, Miss Lucero. I worked with her also too at Russell High, but I just remember she like looked at me. She was the only teacher that asked like if I was okay.
no one else did.
No one else, like, everyone was just, "Okay, her homework, whatever." I was gone for, like, a couple days, and we went to go see my mom. I just remember my dad having a big, big, big suitcase of all her stuff, and I was just thinking, like, "What's gonna happen?" Like, my family's ripped apart. Like, I used to start thinking about high school, how am I gonna, like I was just thinking of everything. How is my dad gonna support us? Like, who am I gonna live with? What's gonna happen? All this confusion just started running through my head. Um, when I got back, I remember my teacher went up to me, my English teacher, Miss Lucero, she went up to me. She's like, "Are you okay? Is everything okay?" And I don't fully remember if I told her full details, but I think I kind of told her like my mom is in Mexico. I don't think I used the word she was deported. Like I just told her she's in Mexico and I don't know when she can come back. I think that's what I told her. And I just remember it happened in February. So I went all February, all March, all April, all May. So I remember that May I turned 13 and I didn't have my mom there. Mother's Day was in that. So I just remember everyone was doing
Mother's Day.
her birthday. So my birthday's May 1st, so I'm like, wow, my mom's birthday. And then 2 weeks later was my birthday. Or well, backtrack. After her birthday, a week later was Mother's Day. So I just remember feeling, like wow, like, like when am I gonna like what's gonna happen? I just had all this confusion. My brother was working at the time. My little brother too. My little brother had to go with my mom. He's 4 years younger than me. So
So you were without your baby brother.
my little brother too. Yeah. So I was without my little brother and my mom.
Oh, I
To
didn't
me,
realize that. So you were without your mom and a younger
younger.
sibling. So it was you, your dad, and then your eldest sibling, right?
Yeah, but my dad wasn't even at the house at the time. So it was basically just my older brother. He was already 17 at the time, gonna be 18, myself, and then my grandpa, my mom's dad. But he had to stay there with us, but honestly, like he couldn't really like help out. He was there, but it's like I had to make sure to get up on time for school, get myself ready. I don't remember why I did it because I just always remember asking my parents for money. So if I didn't want to eat the cafeteria food, there was like a little bar that we would. So I don't even remember. I think my dad, obviously I think my dad rearranged something because my cousins, my Nino and my Nina, they're the ones that were taking me to school with her. So I don't know, like if they were, I'm just kind of trying to backtrack to how it was. Like, I don't know if it was like where they were giving me money, my dad would, I don't know. I can't really
You really
remember.
don't.
I don't remember, but I just remember.
So how long was your mom gone?
So the whole process for her to, get her papers and come back, she is back here in the United States. The whole process took 4 years,
4 years.
but I was without my mom. So it was like all February, March, April, May, June, and July. So 6 months without my mom.
Wow.
In the summer, I thought, okay, my dad's like, you're gonna go visit. He was like already kind of adapting to it. And I think at that time, those 6 months, I started kind of getting out of hand. Wow. Like, you know, I didn't have no parents around. So my friends
No
was like,
guidance.
no guidance. So I was like, oh, I can do what I want. You know, my friends knew that I didn't have my parents around. My dad had to work still. So everyone would want to stay the night at my house. We were still trying to sneak out the window, try to go out. And here we were walking the streets, 13-year-olds. Like, I can't believe that because my son's 13 now. So I'm like just thinking, wow, like at his age,
You're roaming the
he is with
streets.
me. Yeah,
You know,
running this is
parental supervision. Your dad was a hardworking man,
yes.
so it naturally, God intended there to be, a wife and a husband, right? And so without a mother, so proper supervision, you managed to get lost out there.
Yeah, just being with my friends, and I still have that mentality like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get caught. We have to sneak out the window. But in
Mhm.
reality, did my parents really like, I feel like my parents didn't really obviously, my mom was over
Mhm.
there, so my dad wasn't. He was just, like, back and forth, like, he was trying to be with us at the house, and then he was trying to be
Mhm.
over there in Mexico
Yeah.
and stuff, and so I just remember, like, their parents didn't know, their
Mhm.
parents didn't know that my family wasn't around, like, both my parents, so, like, at that time, I had everyone just staying at my house. My brother had to work, like, my brother had his own life and stuff.
So emotionally and stuff, like, focus with me here.
Mhm.
Okay. Just forget the outside world or whatever. Okay. Emotionally, what did that do to you and your brother and your dad? How do you feel like, what was it like watching your dad go, be without your mom?
I honestly, like, with that one, I really didn't focus, honestly. At that age, you don't really like to me, it was just like, when am I gonna see my mom again? Like, when am I
Yeah.
gonna see her? I feel like I was too busy, like, just hanging out with friends. I didn't really
Trying
like
to occupy your time.
yeah. And so like I know my dad was having a hard time. He was trying to make sure that he had the house still. And then we have a house in Mexico. So he was trying to make sure he provided for my mom over there
Mhm.
and then provided for me here or for all of us and stuff. And so I just remember I was excited. I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go see my mom for the summer, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna start high school." Well, that never happened. That never happened. So my dad he couldn't do it. Like my grandpa couldn't stay with us, and I was pretty pissed off about that at first because I remember, my brother, he stayed here. He got to go to his senior year. I never got to experience everything here. I never got to experience everything here like high school. So like it was like a drastic change. Like my dad he kinda, like, tricked me in a way, I
Mhm.
guess you could say, because he's like, "Oh, you're gonna go see your mom for the summer." He's and then
Mhm.
after that, you'll come back, and I'm like, "Okay." So this whole time I thought, "Okay, I'm gonna go see her." At that time, obviously, we would get 3 months, and so we would, like, start, like, mid-May, all
Mhm.
June, all July, and we would start mid-August school at the time, so I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna get to spend time with her, and I'm gonna I'm gonna adapt to that, and I'm gonna
Mhm.
start school." Well, that never happened, so whenever I was there, my dad's like, "Hey, you can't go back."
So you stayed in
So
Mexico?
I stayed for 4 years. So to me, I was like, "Okay,
You stayed
that's
4 years in Mexico?
with my mom because there was no one to watch us." And I was, like, begging my dad, "Well, my brother can
So
watch
your
us."
dad was down here.
My
He came back to work.
yeah, but he wasn't here in Roswell. He was at that time, I think he was in either California or he would travel, like, San Francisco.
So you have this family that's all
Yeah, so it's like my brother and my little brother are in Roswell. My little brother and myself are in Mexico with my mom. And then my dad's trying to maintain the house here in Roswell with my brother. And he's like, yeah, he's just like different states, and then, yeah, all of us are just in Mexico, so it was hard for my dad. He was trying to, okay, make sure, like, he's still because I think at that time they still owed on the house and stuff,
mhm,
and so he was trying to maintain to keep the house, still the
mhm,
mortgage payment and everything there, and then we had an uncle living there for a little bit with my
mhm.
dad, like, yeah, he was just trying to make sure we were okay in Mexico. He was trying to, still provide here for the not to lose a house and everything, and then still on top of that, he had to, work for a lawyer, the lawyer that my parents were seeing. And I know, like, I didn't know this back then, but I know, like, after I got older, like, my dad went into really bad depression, and seeing on me, I'm like, I never seen that side of my dad. 'Cause my dad's just, he's never shown
Very
good
much.
emotion. Yeah, he's never showed
The
emotion.
Mexican
He's
thing,
never
they're like,
but
taught to be real strong.
when I got older, I just remember my parents talking about it, and then I remember my dad having a conversation with my mom, my dad, and he said that he had took some pictures. He had went to him by himself to take pictures. I'm like, my dad never does that type of stuff
Wow.
ever. So I still see those pictures. Like when I walk into my parents' house, I see those pictures. Like, and I'm like, and I look at his face, and I'm like, now I can see it. But back then, as a young kid, obviously, I didn't pay attention to stuff like that.
Wow.
So,
So your mom got to come back. She
mm,
got her papers, praise God. Your mom became a citizen. Was your all's life different when she came back? Do you feel like your mom was a little bit hardened, like the US, like the way our system is, or does it seem like she's hardened or anything at all? Or were you?
no, to me, it was. I'm telling you, when I went over there first, everything was hard. Like it
Mhm.
was like, oh my gosh, like trying to get used to a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Trying to get used to school. School is so much different over there. School is
Mhm.
so advanced over there. It's like, I felt stupid. I felt dumb. Like I'm like, wow, like
Wow.
here I am. Like I'm only good at English. And
Oh,
all these other like, I would see how all these other kids, obviously I always knew Spanish, but that's when I fully learned, okay, how to speak it the correct way, how to write it, and how to read. So
so something good came out of
yeah,
it.
I know it did. It
Yeah.
did. But like I felt dumb because
Yeah.
I'm like, school is so different.
Mhm.
Over there, you had to pay for your homework for
Mhm.
for copies. My dad was constantly sending my mom money. Over there, you had to pay for uniform.
So just a different way of living.
Yeah, different way of living. And I just remember, I didn't get it, so I
Yeah.
had to repeat the grade over there. And then I'm like,
Mhm.
wow, like okay, like to me, I'm like, school's not for me
Yeah.
here. Like I'm like, it's so different. Everything was just so different. But then obviously, I ended up, you know, meeting new people there, friendships. I feel like over there, there's more like liberty, more freedom. Like I'm like, okay, like I like it here.
Yeah.
And whenever, the whole process, it was 4 years, so I had a quinceañera over there and everything. So they did a big party for me over there. I was happy, I was already adapting to that life. I was already, okay, this is my
But
this is
then
my life.
you got pulled back over
And then I got
here.
pulled back, and I didn't want to leave. I did
Yeah.
not want to leave. I remember whenever my parents were like, hey, we're gonna move back
Yeah.
to Roswell, just so
Yeah.
you know. And I'm like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, we have to. So I just remember I did cry a little bit. I did cry because I'm like, I have two of my close friends over there,
Yeah.
we grew up with. And I was like, okay, so when I came back, I just remember like everything felt weird. Like, coming back to Ross, I'm like, okay, like it's so different here. But I was kind of excited. I'm okay, I'm gonna get to see
Yeah.
the people that I went to school
Yeah.
with.
So for time's sake, because I know you have to go pretty soon. Ariana has to go pretty soon. She has a meeting in a little bit. Um, okay, so it's two different, cultures, right? You have
Mhm.
two different lives. There's the US and here's Mexico. And, you got to go to the land that, your family was from.
Yes.
But you couldn't help but feel a comfort, but at the same time, there's still that instability. It's like, you're living two lives, you know what I mean? You live
Yeah.
two lives, and that can be very challenging. Um, Ariana, we're gonna touch something very, very for the viewers, for the sake of the viewers and stuff like that, they have to know. You and I are friends. We have different opinions, but
Yes.
we're very close. So that's the most important thing is
Hmm.
we want unity, not division, Um you're Mexican and well I'm a mutt. So I'm different. I'm different races. Okay, with everything going on right now, it's 2025. We're about to enter in 2026. We have ICE all over, deporting many people. There's things all over the globe. There's mass raids all over the globe. Global, like, I'm not gonna say globally, you all over US, okay?
Yes.
How does that make you feel?
Honestly, like that's a very sensitive topic, but to me it does hit, home for me because I experienced that. So when I see that, I mean, I don't wanna get into the whole political thing, it's not
Yeah.
about I don't wanna make it political, but I I mean, I feel like to me, like, there has to be more humanity. I mean, at the end of the day, these are people's lives.
Yeah.
And I think about the children. I've seen videos, like, on social media, parents being ripped apart, families crying, kids crying, and I just remember, oh my gosh, like, I've been in that situation, and I just remember that trauma, like, it lives with you forever. It lives with you forever. So it hurts.
It triggers you.
Yeah, it triggers me because I'm like, like, I know a lot of people don't have, the same opinion, and I don't want them to have the same opinion as me, but to me, I'm just like, like, a lot of families, are being ripped apart, and they don't realize, like, it's a life change. Like, it's like a drastic life change for them, and I
Yeah.
I just wish there was other ways
Handle it.
to handle it, yeah.
And what do you think about ICE? But what do you think about, even though a lot of people are against these ICE raids, what do you feel like when people are attacking ICE? Does that bother you, or do you feel like, hey, suits you right?
Um, Honestly, I've never really been too involved, like, too bothered by it. Like, I just like I know everyone's gonna have their different opinions, different
Mm-hmm.
to me, I just think about, families. Like, okay, everyone's gonna have their own opinion or whatever, but it does hurt, it does hurt
Hmm.
when I see, like, hateful comments, or when I see, oh, like, it needs to happen, or, you know, follow the rules. It's ugly, but I mean, what can we do?
Yeah, yeah,
So I just think of it like, okay, I went through it. Thank God, like, we're no longer in that situation, but I do feel for others
yeah.
because I just see it like, wow, like, how are they gonna live their life? Their life's gonna change. And I honestly feel like it does change your life because I never got to experience high school here. So
Mhm.
I never got to experience prom. I never got to experience, like, being in sports here. Just stuff that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be able to go out to prom, do this, do that, everything that I like high people in high school are talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
So I don't know what it's like for that.
yeah,
Obviously, I never lived it, but
exactly.
it's sad. And I feel like that did do a big change for me because I feel like if I would have stayed here, obviously, if this would have never happened, and things do happen for a reason, I do believe that shaped me into the person I am now. I'm like, okay, there was a reason, and I learned from it. Um, with
Hmm.
everything, that I lived over there, it was not a bad experience. I see it as
Yeah,
it was more of like of a good experience. Yeah, we were separated for 4 years, so I got to see my dad and my brother on and off, but
yeah.
it wasn't just
So there's some good and some bad,
yeah, some good,
basically.
some bad.
So what do you feel with you know, do you believe that some people need to get deported? Some of the raids are justified,
Honestly, and I'm gonna just speak for
like the criminals and stuff?
criminals. I mean, I can understand, yeah, but at the end of the day, like, it's not just Hispanics, if that makes it's not just
It's like
Hispanic.
it's so
It's
different
not
races
just
that you
yeah,
can
it's
see it.
different races that I mean, if it's for criminals, then yeah. But it's just like it's never gonna end.
Yeah,
That honestly, I feel like there's always gonna be criminals. There's always gonna be
yeah.
it's been happening for so many
Like
years.
deport the criminals out, but leave the
Yeah, like I
yeah.
feel like people that are just trying to be here to provide to be a have a better life. Like
Mhm.
why mess with them? Why
Yeah,
like the family? Like it's they don't
yeah.
understand that like the trauma.
So what do you say to those who say, well, they're taking all the benefits, and what about the families that are from, from here that are lacking benefits? Number one, that's one question. And number two, that, we're paying our taxes and a lot of them are getting away with it by being undocumented. What is your
I
opinion
mean,
about that?
my opinion, honestly, like I've always said, like if you're gonna come here for a better life, okay, if they need to be on their feet, then go
Hmm.
for it, but don't take advantage of it. If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So you
Eh,
feel they have a right to be here, but do it the right way.
Do it the right way. Yeah, like don't yeah, if you need to depend on it for a while, go for it until you can get on your feet, but don't just take advantage. And I say this for experience, and I'm not gonna say names, like it's just, a
Yeah.
family member that was with me for a while. I mean, I kind of, it's kind of seen it, but I'm like, you know what, like there's other people, that are
Yeah.
trying their hardest to be here and
Mhm.
they just need the help. But I feel like they all have to start from somewhere. They
Yeah.
have to start from somewhere. But yeah, I mean, I honestly don't. I try to stay away from all that political thing. I
Yeah.
don't really have much to
Really say
say about
and
it.
you didn't
Yeah.
vote, right? You
No.
talking earlier before we even did the podcast, so
Mhm.
let me get this straight. Did you vote?
No, I did not.
You did not
No,
vote.
I didn't.
And is there a reason why you didn't want to vote for either candidate?
I just didn't. Honestly, I didn't agree with either or, and I didn't want to put myself in that position.
Yeah,
Um,
I can respect that.
but I mean, to me, like I've never really been a political person, and I know a lot of people, there's families that fight with each other because of politics, and
Mm,
I don't agree right now, with stuff that's happening right now with the president. But at the end of the day, he is a person, he is a human being. But I just wish there was more like love for that. There was
yeah,
more love in this world. Like there was more, they would see that it's not just because of other people's mistakes. It's like everyone's being having to pay for that price.
yeah,
And that to me, that hurts me because, like I said, it happened to me. Like my family was ripped apart because
yeah.
of everything. So yeah, it's something that it's a trauma. I still remember it like yesterday, and I just remember like thinking, "My gosh, like the way they explained it to me, like your mom, they made your mom,
Yeah.
I just remember hearing the hurt, the cry in my mom's voice, like the pain,
Mhm.
crying, and
So you're familiar with it.
yeah, I'm familiar, and I just remember my mom telling me, "Yeah, I cried." She's like, "I told him like
Yeah.
my
Mhm.
kids," and my mom said they were very cool.
So I'm going to ask you some short and sweet questions. You can. We're going to go quickly because I know you have things you have to do, and I
Yeah.
appreciate you taking
Yes.
time to even do this with your busy schedule.
No. Yes.
Okay. So, number one, you're not about the politics. This
No.
isn't a political thing for you. Number two, and it's yes or no. So that way people aren't hating. They're like, oh gosh, she's against. You're not against ICE,
Mm.
correct?
No, I'm just like it's like whatever. Like I mean,
Yeah.
I don't agree with what they're doing,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm not gonna sit here and focus on it
Yeah.
because why make starve myself up for that,
Yeah. Exactly. But you don't think I should be attacked either?
No, I mean, it's like it's vice versa. Like I
Like
said,
two
like
wrongs don't make a right.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I mean, it's just like I get it. It's people are doing their jobs, but at the same time, like it does hurt because I just see it because it happened
Yeah.
to my
Okay.
family.
But you don't like the terrorism either. You don't like where people are rioting and throwing things at ICE and putting ICE in harm's way as well, correct?
Uh,
Yes or no?
I mean, I feel like there's other ways to do it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, people are gonna. I mean, everyone has their own how they're gonna react to things.
Yeah.
And I just see it as okay, like you can't stop those people. It's gonna happen regardless,
Yeah.
and whether, like I said, you're never gonna make someone happy, you're never gonna make it,
Mhm.
so I just honestly, I'm not the type to just, I don't know, like pay attention to the news. I hear
So you
things
try to
and
stay away from that ugliness.
yeah, I try to stay
That's
away from
good.
it. Yeah, I do. And like when I see about it, like I honestly, I just try to avoid it. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
because I just, it brings me back to that. Like it brings me back to,
It's too much of a trigger.
yeah, yeah, it is. But when I hear people talking about it, yeah, I will state my
Yeah.
opinion, but I do say,
Yeah.
everyone has their own opinion
Yeah.
about it.
Gotcha. Well, we're gonna sit in front of the camera. We're gonna talk. So, if there's anything that you would like to say to the viewers right now at this moment, what would it be? Like anything that you want the world to know right now?
So for anyone, that is experiencing this, I promise you it's not a forever thing, At my age, I thought, oh, it's gonna ruin my life. Yeah, it did at the time, but something nice came out of it, I got to be where my parents, grew up, where they're from. I got to still live a nice life over there. And that's why I look up very much to my parents, and I feel like just pray on it. Pray on it, and everything's gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be all right. Be positive and spread more love than hate because I feel
Yeah.
like it's not the right way. The right way, our way to spread love, no hate, and just stay out of, stay out of everything that's happening right now. I just,
Mhm.
obviously families are, you know, hurting right now, but at this point, leave it all in God's hands. That's all I
Okay.
can say. Yeah.
Well said, Ariana. Beautiful. So, you guys, my opinion is I voted for Trump. So, you know that two people can be very close and come together with different opinions. I voted for Trump. Do I agree? Do I think that people should be deported? criminals, those who have come here the last few years with whenever the Biden administration was here, because I believe that we allowed a lot of people in that could be terrorists. Uh, do I believe that we should be taking, someone who's mowing the lawn and someone who's, cooking or picking cotton or whatever? No, I do not. Do I believe they should do things the right way? Yes, but I think we should not freak them out into hiding. Let them line up, and we have so much resources here that we can actually get the welfare offices and government involved to where we have stations line up for them so they can sign up for things to pay their taxes and have an agreement when they have to a certain amount of time to bring their businesses forward and be honest and pay their taxes like everyone else. There's ways around it. I do want the criminals out of here. I don't want our people being attacked. They need to be gone. But I believe the people that have been here in the last, between 3, 4, 5 years, that we need to do an extensive background check on them because we don't know who was allowed in. Biden allowed them in like a bunch of cucarachas. And that's every nation, every like different countries came in. It's not just the Hispanics, it's different. Okay. So I'd be a hypocrite for one, because all of our families come from somewhere, originated from somewhere. But number two, just because I voted from someone does not make me a Nazi, does not make her a Nazi lover, does not make me a traitor because I love her. My dad's family came from Mexico, okay? So that would make me a hypocrite. I want us to do things right. There needs to be order structure. That's why I read out of Leviticus and Exodus, right? That's why I read two different Bible scriptures, because we have to know the good and bad of immigration. Okay. So I'm right there. I'm for both Bible verses. We need to treat others how we want to be treated. But also we need to have order and structure so that we keep our country safe, right? And we want our own people taken care of. But once people come in here, then let's set up grounds for them to sign up and pay their taxes, to do things the right way. Let's make it more affordable too. Let's not rob these people who are here for a better opportunity. Like I said, I love President Trump. I love the Trump administration, but do I agree how everything's going down? Not everything. Do I respect ICE? Yes, I do. They're doing a job. That's like me getting attacked for doing this right now, or any job that we do, or her being attacked because she believes the way she believes. They're there to provide for their families. And a lot of ICE, the percentage of ICE agents are Hispanic. And a lot of people are calling them names and traitors, but they're doing their job, okay? They have to weed out the bad. And unfortunately, those who've done bad have caused a lot of harm to those who want to come here and embrace what America has to offer. So I challenge you guys out there, before we hate each other, the right, the left, Democrat, Republicans. I'm for immigration, I'm not for immigration. I'm in the middle, guys. I'm going to be real with you on this. I'm in the middle. There's some things I agree with, some things I don't, some things she agrees with, some things she doesn't. Does not make us a traitor, doesn't make people Nazis. We don't need to be ugly on either side. We need to spread love and not hate. Immigration is a very touchy subject because all of us come from somewhere and our families come from somewhere. Let's remember that. And how would we feel if we were just kicked to the curb? We want to talk about different people around places that have been mistreated, and we want to talk about people who've been hated on, but we have to love. Okay, we have to learn to love. It's not easy. It is not easy, right? It's not easy to love those who really have really hurt us. Okay, and it's easy to think that both sides are ugly, but guess what? Newsflash, both sides are ugly. Both sides are. There's evil in every person. You know why? Because we're all sinners. So before we act all high and mighty, I'm a sinner, she's a sinner. Doesn't matter our race, our shape, where we come from, what we believe in. We all have fallen short of the glory of God. Remember that. So before you all have an opinion, you are entitled to your opinions, but be very cautious. Be very cautious, okay? Because you have to ask yourself, what would Jesus do? What would he want me to do in this situation? There needs to be order. I do believe we need walls and borders, but I also believe that there has to be a better way of doing things. And I know that we're doing that, and it's some good ways, and it's a great idea. But I also believe that it's taking a toll, and it's becoming very ugly. And I really believe that it's a tool from Satan to divide, to conquer and divide, to cause possibly civil war within our own countries, right?
Mm.
We got to be very cautious, guys. Just look at the enemy's tactics, and we need to put on the armor of God and prepare to fight, because every day is a battle, and we need to understand and recognize the arrows. Okay, y'all have a very great night.
No, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
I love you. Let's give it. See, difference in opinion, but we love each other. Some of our opinions are the same, though.
No, yes.
I am truly sorry for what happened.
No, I
I'm
mean,
truly
it's
sorry. Prayers for all of the families out there being affected.
yes.
Right now, we want to pray in God's mighty name that there is order and structure in America, that there are borders, but that we allow those in it to stay that want to embrace the opportunity of America the way our families from generation to generations have wanted to, okay, and have. So we pray for God to put his hand upon all of this and make it all work out for the better. We ask this in your mighty name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Join me for the next episode on Dear Battle Road. Bye.
Bye.